I'm Marcus's brother, Morgan, and that's Morgan's brother, Marcus.
Morgan.
You understand? I'm Morgan Luttrell. I'm Morgan Luttrell.
And that Morgan Luttrell approves this message.
I am Marcus Luttrell's older brother, Morgan Luttrell.
By how many minutes?
7, which means I'd have been king back in the old days. And yes, it matters in the family.
I'm Marcus Luttrell, Morgan Luttrell's younger brother, Marcus Luttrell.
By 7 minutes.
And I am the adopted Luttrell brother, just the shorter version.
Older brother.
Kind of like that movie Twins, where there was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. I'm obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was on the other day, man. That's a good one.
That was good. That was a good.
Well,
you're
great
an
movie.
afterbirth. You're the trash.
So you can't put 3 frogmen around a fire and not expect to hear some Bud stories.
It seems that we always revert back, no matter what you've been through in the teams. When frogmen are together, it always goes back to Bud.
It always goes back to Buds. Let's flip the coin a little bit, though. Everybody always asks us, what's the hardest thing you've been through in Buds? Let's hear one of the funniest experiences you had in Buds.
You got one?
And you go first, man. Seniority.
Seniority.
I got to think on that for a second, because I didn't think anything was fun in Buds. So
Well, you had to have a funny day.
No, I didn't. Not
Nothing.
1 second. That's why mine was the hardest Buds class. Boom, right there.
I would have to say our first day of Buds. The first day of Buds, we show up on the grinder. You know, you show up out there. It's dark 30, and we're just getting hammered on the grinder. And all of a sudden, the Florida Marlins mascot comes over. A guy dressed in a Florida Marlins mascot suit, and he has a 212 helmet on his head. And he had a fin on the costume, so they actually cut the helmet, like a little slit in the middle, so they could put the helmet on his head. And he gets in line right next to me and starts PT. And I mean, this is a dude in a full-on costume. They're spraying him down with the hose, and I'm like, what is going on here? And he's just taking it. He's getting wet and sandy and out there getting beat. And they had a full camera crew out there. I still don't know today. I've never seen the video. I don't know why they were filming it. I guess it was some kind of, you know, Billy the Fish or whatever, Ghost of Seal training. But this dude was a trooper. He sat, I mean, this is the first day of Buds where they hammer your ass during PT. And we knew something was going on because there was extra instructors out there. I mean, it was probably like half the second phase was there, all the PTR instructors. Like Master Chief Chalker was the command master chief at the time, him and Joe Hawes. And I remember Hawes and Chalker like putting their feet on this guy's back. And I was sitting there thinking like, man, this PT is hard enough. This guy's getting over here beating this fish suit. But he went through the entire PT with us. And then we went straight out to the beach to do surf passage. And of course I was in the Smurf crew. I mean, I don't know if that's obvious, but I was the leader of the Smurf crew. I was the tallest Smurf. But
Does that make you Papa Smurf?
Well, yeah, I guess you could call me Papa Smurf.
I'm not good. Hey, if you dye your...
You know, if I had the beard, yeah, it might look like him.
All right, for Halloween, motherfucker.
Yeah, I have to get the little red hat. Looks like a giant condom on my head.
Are we allowed to cuss? Are we allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you can cuss.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want,
I
buddy.
just want to put that out.
So we go out to the beach to do surf passage, and they're like, hey, you guys are going to have the fish in your boat. And like this guy and the fucking Florida Marlins mascot is going to be in our boat with us. So they give him a paddle, and we're literally doing surf passage.
No idea who's in the costume?
No idea who this guy is in the costume. And
Did he
he's
say anything?
No, he didn't say anything. We
sitting there.
could hear him grunting, you know, underneath the costume. He didn't say the guy was a trooper. We were like, is this for real?
In there or not, right?
We had no idea. I mean, he could move around and everything. So he gets in the boat with us, and we all start paddling out. You know, you're stroke, and we're looking like, come on, put out, man, hurry up. And he doesn't know what he's doing. He's all off sync and just going around. So finally, we just push him into the middle of the boat. And I mean, we weren't the best boat crew. I'm not going to lie. We were probably the last boat crew. And we get all the way out to the last set of waves, and then that big rogue wave comes, and it just flips us over. So we're flipped over. This guy's in the water with the Florida Marlins mascot suit on, and we flip the boat back over, and I get in the boat first, and I'm helping people in. And so finally we get the mascot back in the boat, and one of the guys in the boat crew lost his paddle. And if you guys remember in Buds, you treat your paddle like it's a weapon. So we look over and we're like, dude, where's your paddle at? Where's your paddle at? So then we look at the Florida Marlins mascot, and he held onto his paddle. He still had his paddle. So we grabbed the paddle from the Florida Marlins mascot, and we give it to the other guy, and we're like, hey, when we get to the beach, you just tell them you lost your paddle. They won't do anything to you. So we end up getting out past the surf, come back in, and the dude gets out of the boat, and he runs over. And the dude's like, where's your paddle at? And they're yelling at him. And he's just looking like he's just over it. He's just done. He's like, I don't know why I'm here. I signed up for way too much. But we blamed it on the Florida Marlins mascot. I mean, and that was probably the weirdest experience I had in Buds. And it was the first day of Buds. And all of a sudden we got the Florida Marlins mascot doing PT with us and surf passage.
Find out why?
We heard from, you know, the Buds rumor mill that you hear that's about 15th hand from your proctor. He just told us, he's like, dude, right before you guys came out there to do PT, they just told us they're going to be filming something for the Florida Marlins, and the mascot's going to be involved in PT today. But it was definitely a pretty strange experience.
So when you were telling that story, that's actually a great question. We should ask every team guy that. So tell me about your first day at Buds and your first day in Buds, because those are different.
Yeah.
I remember when that taxi dropped me off, man, I had them Cracker Jacks on and everything I owned in a sea bag. You know what I'm talking about? And I come walking up the road, and the gate opens up right there when it was 602.
Yeah.
Or 604, right?
4.
4. And that day, team guy comes out all oiled up, Speedo, running barefooted, with a Rottweiler running next to him. Hey, this is the handgun. It burns. It comes burning through there, man. And I didn't know what to do, so I went up on the quarterdeck and trying to sign in. I was asking all the questions. And my idea of the teams, even though I'd already been through boot camp and everything, was when you get in there, you call everybody LT. I was like, hey, what's up? I thought it was cool. I didn't know that it wasn't, right? and then the first time that I remember going in, the first time I hit the surf, I thought that was going to be cool. I was ready to do it. I remember calling him. I was like, bro, I'm here. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get full bennies, right? And then the first time you hit, you come out and you're like, oh, that's cool, right? And then the second time, the third time, about the 50th time in the day that you had to hit that thing and come back out wet and sandy, how much not fun it is anymore. I didn't realize how miserable that is.
Oh, I remember.
Remember all that?
We were on that phone. I was like, bro, was it awesome getting wet and sandy? He's like, no, it's not. Absolutely not.
That's the biggest misconception, too. You show up in California, you see all the palm trees, you're like, oh, hit the surf. This is California. The water's going to be warm. I mean, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I thought the water was warm. I ran out there and I was like jumping into an ice pool.
Oh, bro.
It's like 60 degrees.
I'd have to, at the end of the day, you know those phone booths? You sit in those phone booths, man. And the best part was after you go through the Buds classes, if you were sitting there, you could hog that thing. I'd call him after a good ass whipping, man. And I'd be like, he'd be like, tell me about this. How was this? Was it cool?
Tell me about the O course.
Yeah. Eventually I had to start telling him, I was like, yeah, man, it's cool. There was that transition, right? Because the first day of Buds and in Buds, I remember that being the most miserable thing. At the end of the day, we were in the showers. And I was like, hey, is every day like this? And he was like, no, every day gets worse. And then the day that on graduation, and the last day of Buds, I remember running out in the ocean. A couple of our buddies, we saw them swimming out there. And we were in our camis. Cool got up, had them sleeves rolled up and everything, man. Sideburns down, the shades. And we wanted to get in there, you know, just to kind of show off, right? Yeah. But, dude, it's funny how that transition from when you first get in there, how like we thought we knew as much as we possibly could, which there wasn't much back then.
Yeah. You watch that 45-minute VCR tape that they gave you. Oh, yeah. It's like, hey, be someone special or the silent option.
Silent option's the reason why. I think a story I've never really actually told is when I checked in on, because remember he went through before me.
This is actually when it got good.
But we switched, and I went in and did a day when I was a civilian, right? And that actually came out eventually. So one of the I guess oddest, funniest looking back moments is the day that I checked in, I had a conversation with a couple of first phase instructors that were telling me how bad they were gonna fuck Morgan up, thinking I was him. And I go, yeah, ride his ass, man. I was caught in the moment. And since they thought I was Marcus, I just went with it because I didn't want them to kick my ass right then because I had no idea what I was doing. So we talked. I mean, they were just going off about the story.
Remember those instructors back then, man? When I went
Man.
through, he had the same ones. He had come back through there, and they had already known. Because when I had that mask, I had that admiral's mask, and they were like, "Hey, you know, this is kind of a big deal, right?" And on graduation day, I was looking for him. I got my diploma. You remember that's probably the best moment when when the old man hands you your certificate. You're like, "Oh, okay, that means something." And I was looking for him, and all the guys I had him over there pinned up in the corner. I was like, "Man, just wait till you get here."
Well, you ended up divulging that information to the instructor. Was that when, right before you graduate, they're like, all right, this is amnesty right here. Yeah. If you've got away with anything in buds,
well, it wasn't him.
That
wasn't me.
Right now, you'll have amnesty.
I'm not the one that threw that out there. Just instructors are instructors. Man, they put that together. And freaking Getka called me in the office, bro. Mike Getka.
Mike Getka. The devil that walks the earth.
I mean, you understand with that when you say that name. I heard his voice on the golf course one time. I almost still pissed my pants, man.
Yeah, PTSD from that.
Yeah, that's right. And he asked me, you know, if you get busted and they ask you, like, yeah, man. And he asked me straight up. I was in a lean and rest in the first phase office when he was typing on his computer, and I was right by his desk, and he left me there for a while he was just talking. I hadn't thought about this in a while, man. He kind of leans back and he spits on my head, and because he was
typical Getka.
Yeah, right. Dude, he leveled me with a flashlight one time. But anyways, he goes, "Let me ask you a question." He goes, "You got a twin brother?" And I was like, "Who ya?" And then when they're serious with it, like, "Hey, who you live any more who ya?" And I was like, "Absolutely, 100%." He goes, "Don't ever." He asked me one other question, and he kind of sat back and he kept typing, and he spit again on the thing, and he goes, "Great story. Don't ever tell anybody you did it. Get the fuck out of here, go get wet and sandy." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he whipped me so bad. He whipped me so bad. Whipped him bad too. But I mean, he let me through, man.